Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Teiufs Talks. I got a very insightful comment, and we don't often read the comments over on Teiufs Talks. That is, back on camera. I read them all, and to the people that keep asking the same thing over and over again, maybe you could realize that I either have answered it in the past or don't want to talk about it, and that's why I'm not addressing it instead of just spamming the same question over and over again. But there's one comment that stood out to me, and it was from a fan. This was not a hateful comment, but it was a constructive criticism comment that I really wanted to shed some light on. This comment is from Aiden, and I do apologize, it's a little bit longer than usual, and this is not something we often do on Teiufs Talks, is just sit down and start reading people's comments, but this particular comment, I felt like there was a lot I could say about it, and there was enough here to make an entire vlog over. So sit back, relax, and Aiden is gonna take it from here. Drew, I could never find a good place to say it, so I'll say it here in hopes that you'll see. While I'm so happy for you and how your content has evolved and your following has grown, I really think you have too much on your plate with the Teiufs Network. As much as I respect you and what you do, there is simply no reasonable way that anyone, especially one person now that it's just you at Teiufs, can take on running and pouring time and effort into 6 YouTube channels. I believe music is run by someone else, correct me if I'm wrong. You are not incorrect. Teiufs Music is primarily run by a fan of the Teiufs Network. He approached me a while back and said that he wanted to run a music promotional channel, and he was just going to try to do it on his own, but knew that if he put it within the Teiufs Network, it would probably get many more subscribers and views. He turned out to be correct, and he's still uploading to music to this day. This is including the new couples channel, which seems to just be Teiufs Talks, but slightly more specific, as Talks used to basically be your couples channel. I understand that it's a little bit redundant. In fact, when my wife told me that she wanted to start making challenge videos and couple videos, I originally pitched it to her that we should just do them on Teiufs Talks, and I would not be against her uploading to Talks and having our own separate kind of show dedicated just on the Talks channel. And as much as we debated about that, she insisted that it be separate from Teiufs because she wants this to be a different chapter in our lives, and she doesn't want this associated with all the things that are already associated with Teiufs. So as much as me and you may disagree on that, she's the one editing it, and in my mind, the person who edits the project is typically the one putting a lot of the work into it. So I caved and said, sure, we can make our own separate channel. Back to Aiden's comment though. I'm not saying you're incapable, and I hate criticizing what you seem to be putting tons of work into, because I love your content and I'm subscribed to all of your channels. However, it just isn't realistic. It just needs to be accepted that the videos on those other channels and those channels themselves are not doing anywhere near as well as even Talks, and especially Tech. You plug them well enough, you do giveaways involving subscribing to them. So far there's only been one, and based on what happened because of that giveaway, I don't think I would do it again, by the way. But still, all but Talks and Tech have yet to break 10,000 subscribers. My man, you should really do something. Consolidate. Your wonderful work is unnecessarily fragmented, and I wholeheartedly believe you would be better off shearing it down. There's nothing wrong with putting different types of content on a single channel, or simply leaving that area of content if you choose to view it as a lack of interest by your fans and viewers in said content. Pour your focus into Tech and Talks. Tech is Tech, and Talks is the vlogging / gaming / miscellaneous channel. Nothing wrong with the couples channels. If your wife, congrats again, by the way, you guys are so great together, but you're taking on a massive workload trying to manage this many channels when, to be brutally honest, only one is truly flourishing and another is growing smoothly, leaving the rest scrambling to keep up. It's a lot to do alone. Please take this into consideration. Sincerely, a huge fan since the days of the Green Wall. So first off, I want to say thank you, Aiden, for your advice and your criticism of the network, and the fact that he is correct in the fact that only a couple channels are growing fairly healthfully. But I feel like I have a perspective that a lot of people don't, and I have an ability to see the potential in a lot of my channels that other people don't. Because Aiden, you're not the first person to suggest something like this. Like Drew, you're making all this effort across the entire Teiufs network, and most of it doesn't really matter because the only channel that brings in actual money is Teiufs Tech, and that seems to be what you're good at, and that's growing really quickly. So just focus on that. Why worry about all these other channels? A lot of people said that actually when Teiufs Tech started taking off. As soon as it just at 1,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, a lot of my friends and even my family were just like, why do you care about gaming? Why do you care about movie reviews? These channels make literally nothing. Why do you care about the main channel with the Saturday shorts? You know, like, it's fun, but you have to be more realistic about what you put your efforts into. And the funniest thing to me about this subject is the story or the advice always changes over time depending on what becomes more successful. So like originally, when Teiufs Tech started getting big, all of my friends and family were, as I said, saying just focus on tech, just do tech stuff. Why do you have to focus on the rest of the network? Because they're not growing, they're not making any money. Why does it matter? And now that Teiufs Talks has started to pick up a fairly loyal substantial audience and a fairly healthy amount of growth. More and more people showing up to Talos of Talks. And to the people who are like, well, Drew, a lot of the stuff you do on Talks is very related to tech. That is intentional. Talks is meant to be kind of the gateway channel into the rest of the network. Hence, on the featured content page of our Talos of Talks YouTube channel, it says, welcome to the rest of Talosive. What my effort is with the network and why I'm somewhat against putting different types of content on each channel is because I've been subscribed to a lot of channels in the past that like doing lots of different genres on one channel, but that would actually keep me away from subscribing to them because I would like one thing they did. I didn't like everything the channel did, but I didn't want to have my subscriptions feed full of stuff that I didn't care about or I didn't want to watch. So I wouldn't subscribe to a channel because they would upload so much stuff I wasn't interested in. So my whole vision, my whole pitch with the Talosive network was you didn't subscribe to anything that you didn't really necessarily care about. As in, maybe you love Talosive Tech, but you don't care about my gaming stuff at all. That means that you can subscribe to Talosive Tech or subscribe to Talosive Talks and you're good. You don't have to put up with all of my gaming rambling, or you don't have to put up with my movie reviews if you're not interested in that. But to the fans out there that are interested in the rest of the network and for the rest of what I do, it's not that complicated. It's still very simple to just subscribe to each of the channels. You're right though, they are absolutely very fragmented right now, and that's because only a couple of channels can really get my full-time attention. Tech obviously is the priority, and I don't want people to feel like I'm ignoring tech or I don't care that much about Talosive Tech. It is the channel that brings in the majority of my income, and that's why it will always come first. When it comes to, I gotta prepare content for vacation, or I have to prepare content because I'm gonna be away for a while, tech is the go-to. Tech is the default. Tech is the channel that I'm always going to prioritize when it comes to, okay, I don't have very much time to work today, what do I need to get done? Tech is always first on that list. But as I've said in the past, it's very possible that could change. It would not be tech, for instance, if another channel blew up and became more popular than Talosive Tech. That's not likely, but I'm just telling you, the channel that brings in the majority of the revenue, that becomes the priority. But now that Talosive Talks has this fan base, I'm seeing people say, Drew, why don't you just do Talosive Tech and Talosive Talks? That can be your secondary thing, and then tech can be your primary channel. Which is funny to me, because when Talosive Tech started blowing up, no one was suggesting that Talosive Talks be something I pay much attention to either. But now that it's actually succeeded, and I put my time into it, and I put some energy into it, it started to grow its own audience, and it started to gain in subscribers, and now it's actually generating income. It's generating revenue, which now is a pretty important part of my monthly income. So I think the difference is a lot of fans out there see channels as they are currently, and they say, okay, this channel doesn't get much content, or this channel doesn't get much growth, therefore it's not worth it. Whereas I, the person who used to see all of these channels, I used to see the main channel, tech channel, gaming channel, talks channel, all of them under 100 and doing nothing. Now seeing them with thousands of subscribers and hundreds of views per video and growing Talosive Tech as fast as it's growing, I look at them and see potential. I look at them and see, I know what that could be. Similar to the growth we're now seeing on Talosive Talks. I think we've gained like 700 subscribers in the past 30 days, which for a channel this size is actually really impressive. And I understand that by far Talosive Tech is the biggest, and by far it's outgrowing all the channels like no competition, but I'm okay with that because I care about technology. I like talking about it, so it's absolutely something I don't mind talking about every single day in content form. But also I care about a lot of other things, and the fact that the majority of my audience comes from Talosive Tech and kind of spills into all the other channels means that we all have similarities. When it comes to the main channel, when it comes to gaming, when it comes to talks, I know I can make certain jokes or certain references that everyone will reference because most of you all came over from Talosive Tech. So I know that we all have that kind of in common, and it's kind of a community that knows about technology, but within all these other channels, we can be a tad more creative. The other reason I'm not going to just start focusing on tech and talks and start abandoning the rest of the network is I know that the tech field as a whole is getting very, very boring. It's getting very, very stale. And trying to make content every single day about the tech genre is going to get more increasingly difficult year after year after year. And putting all your eggs in one basket for one genre, in my opinion, on YouTube is kind of a dead end. Eventually, the upgrades of iPhones and iPads and Apple Watches every single year, they're going to get really, really minor, and trying to keep people interested in that on the platform is going to be quite difficult, which is why I'm paying so much attention to other types of content that can bring in money, because I see the potential in them and I see their longevity being a lot better than the tech channels, because tech will get more and more stale, but there will always be TV shows and movies coming out. So if you're able to create a channel that can generate an income from reviewing those, that's all the better to you. You diversify your content and make sure that you're gonna last in the long run. Even recently, in the past couple weeks, we had one of Dan's videos on movie reviews start taking off in what a couple months ago used to seem like impossible, like getting movie reviews to the 4,000 hour watch time so that we could have a monetized movie review channel. That seemed impossible just 60 days ago. And now, because Dan's video is exploding over on movie reviews and we're getting more subscribers and actually more unique fans that are checking out that channel now and watching the content who haven't even heard of Talos of Tech, we're on track to be eligible for monetization on movie reviews within the next couple of weeks. We're going to submit our application and see what YouTube says, but I'm very, very excited for that, and I understand that what one person can do can be quite limiting. You know, you're right, I've had editors in the past who could help me out with the extra workload, but I will bring up something that's been on my heart for a while now. I felt like before I was married and I didn't really have much of a structured life. I was kind of staying up as late as I wanted and starting work whenever I wanted. I know you guys see content put out there, and a lot of people always say, Drew, you work so hard. Drew, when do you ever sleep? Drew, when do you ever take some time to yourself? Well, throughout 2018, I felt like I was being increasingly lazy with how I was generating content. The real reason I was hiring editors was because I didn't like editing, and I liked how simple it was to just record a video and then hand off the footage to someone else and they could go deal with it. Essentially, I was lazy. I didn't really want to get down on my knees and put in the actual work it would require to create enough content for each of the channels. And when I got married and when I got my life a bit more structured now, and I have a start time of the day where the work day begins, and I have an end time where I know I have to be done with work, and then I'm gonna go home and turn my brain off and just focus on relaxing and focus on being with my wife. That structure has helped me manage my time so much better now that even though I'm the only person at Tailosive and I'm editing all of the content myself, managing the vlogs, the movie reviews, the Saturday shorts, the tech videos, the streams, all of that has become increasingly simple because I'm not as lazy as I was last year. I know a lot of people wouldn't assume I was because of all the content we were producing, but as many of you probably noticed from my tech videos and other videos across the network, when I'm editing something and when I'm posting something, I'm looking for the fastest, absolute, most efficient way of producing that content. Because I don't like spending hours and hours and hours on one project. I kind of have a more fast food idea of producing content, as in, I don't want to release this video, I don't want to work on this video unless I can finish it within X amount of hours. So when it comes to vlogs, when it comes to tech videos, I want to make sure that I can make something that's interesting and entertaining enough for someone so that they can come back every single day and keep watching more of it, but it's also quick enough for me to produce it that I still have time to focus on the other things I'm interested in, as well as take some time off and pick a day out of the week that I can just relax and also spend time with my wife. So the fact that you guys are seeing a lot of content being uploaded across all the different channels, I don't want you to think that that's because I'm not getting enough free time, or I'm not getting enough sleep, or I'm not getting time to myself or with my wife. I am. I'm actually very, very happy with the way my life is working out right now because there's a decent amount of leisure time. There's time where I can just relax and be with my wife, but there's also time where I work and I work hard and I get as much content posted as I absolutely can. And now, and because of this time management and because of the fact that I'm able to split up my day into reasonable hours where I can put the amount of time I need into every project, I can do more now and I can produce more content than I ever could before when I had editors. Now that I'm editing the content, I get to decide how fast the project gets edited. I get to decide what deserves more time, what deserves less time. And that's why, as backwards as it sounds, being the only person at Tailosive has allowed me to produce more content, which feels very backwards and very bizarre, but it's true. In 2019, I'm going to try and stay on top of the Saturday shorts because I know a lot of people enjoy them, and I'm going to try to keep posting them every single Saturday. Also, with this new schedule I've been living with, it's been much easier to make time for the Tailosive Tech podcast, which a lot of people ask about. It's been a lot easier to find time in the day to do Twitch streams, of course, for Tailosive Gaming and Tech. Refried Friday has made its comeback on YouTube, which I'm very much enjoying. Tech videos are still getting posted quite often, and now vlogs are still every other day or so, sometimes more, sometimes less, but for the most part, I'm getting the most amount of channels active as I can, and I know that there's not instant success. I know that they're not growing increasingly fast all the time, but that's not necessarily the sign that a channel is going to die or isn't interesting. It just means that it hasn't found its audience yet. And personally, I love running small channels. I love having smaller live streams with less people. I love being able to just focus on a dedicated amount of fans, and that's why I still upload to like Tailosive Food as I am right now. It's not because I think that'll make a bunch of money or because I think there's a giant future in it. Maybe there is, but I doubt it. It's because I like kind of running the smaller, more personal channels that way. And even when Tailosive Tech or Talks reaches 100,000 or 1 million subscribers, I'm still gonna want to have these side channels where I can interact with just a couple people at a time, because there are great things about running giant YouTube channels and it allows you to do more and more that you couldn't do before, but there's also a lot lost when you have an audience that big and you don't get to recognize fans by their username routinely. So that's why the Tailosive Network is still going to be a priority for me, and I'm still going to be giving as much time to it as I can, and hopefully you guys can understand that. But thank you absolutely for your concerns, and thank you guys for watching and for sticking around through this very long vlog, but there was a lot on my heart and I felt like in 2019 it was important to start it out right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.